Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us on this randomly special bonus session of Invictwitch. I haven't currently got any viewers, but I'm going to talk to the viewers because we also put this on YouTube, and they will be watching this. So, at the end of our last session, there was a bit of a kerfuffle over what the group was going to do, and there was some discussion over whether or not the group should split up, or whether the group should stay together. Now, normally we try and keep the group together as much as possible so that everybody has a chance for some screen time. We don't want to spend too much of a session on only focusing on some small fraction of the group too much. But in this particular case, we've had some extra time this week, so we're just going to throw out a couple bonus sessions so we can do the split and still have plenty of time for our actual session this Saturday. The countdown timer at the bottom there is still referring to our regular session. I'm sorry. So yes, essentially that's our plan for today. Now, we have had a little bit of pre-preparation with Plucky Hero, who is still having computer issues, so we have audio only with Plucky. Hello, Plucky.
Hey everybody, it's me, Plucky Hero. I'll be playing Kalos Kodan.
And Vero playing Sagacious Hand. We've had a little bit of pre-preparation with them. We'll say hi to Vero.
Hello. Pleasure to be here on this very fine evening for us.
They spent some time in the castle speaking to some of the servants and discovering some interesting information. Now, while all of that is very interesting and very important for what is about to transpire, our third character who's joining us today, Paradox, playing Golden Heron, say hi.
Hello.
Is about to find out some information passed on by the character, so I'm going to let them roleplay that out. Where our session first begins is actually in Golden Heron's caravan in the Ebullient Excelsior. Now, the issue dividing the group at the moment was whether or not to attend the gala as per their mission statement from Unsure Route and to protect Righteous Lotus. So some of the group is going to be going to the gala, who actually think that everyone's going to be going to the gala, but our three characters here have other plans, especially Golden Heron, who's decided that regardless of what everyone else is doing, they are going to take off and investigate what they thought was an important element to trying to stop the decline of this kingdom in any way that they could possibly do so. So Golden Heron is here in her caravan, packing her things. What kind of things would she pack? What kind of clothes would she throw on herself to embark on this particular endeavor?
Well, Heron usually more or less wears very similar clothing. She doesn't change it up too much. Usually she just has dear Lord, I'm probably going to be inconsistent with the first session here, but whatever. You know, basically basic brown robes and whatnot. Really simple stuff. Nothing luxurious at all. A wide, probably slightly slit skirt to make sure that she's still agile and can move around. Not that she is particularly agile, but you know, it's the thought that counts, right? Other than that, her caravan's probably just loaded with a ridiculous amount of books. I imagine they're piled all over the place. Though I guess you were more wearing what I would pack.
Yeah.
Not what I would just tap around. Probably some salt. Salt can't hurt when it comes to spirits. The salt's expensive, isn't it?
Yes,
Wouldn't
it
be
is.
expensive for your
It's
game?
quite expensive.
I'm actually a pretty poor person, so I'm not sure how much salt I'd even have. Now, Sagacious Hand has all the money in the world, but I just can't imagine Heron asked for a whole lot of it. She probably occurs to herself that she should pack her some salt, but doesn't really have any. So she needs to go find some with Sagacious Hand.
Well, first of all, could you tilt your camera down just a little bit for me? Thank you. And so someone knocks on your door.
Have we lost sound from ducks?
I'm still here.
Okay.
We just lost our GM, so I.
Oh, I was.
Oh no.
Someone knocks on
I
your
thought
door.
we did. Oh, okay. No, I legitimately. Ignore me.
It's just Sagacious Hand's just sitting outside. Knocks again.
Yeah, Heron lost in thought, but quickly realizes that the door was in fact being knocked on, and goes and opens it. Oh, hello, Ham.
Sagacious Hand before you look through parcels. Hi. Would you mind if I came in to have a chat for a while?
Sure, come on in.
Steps his way into her caravan and around the piles of books to find a chair, if it's not overflowing with books, to sit down. I wanted to ask you about earlier. You seemed quite... You said that I could help. You wanted to go to the crypt, and that you needed me. Why?
Well, it's you can help because you of what you are inherently. Actually, I might have a book around that can help explain it. Heron goes rummaging through her stuff for a moment, knocking over all sorts of books. Hand is probably just like in awe of the lack of any organization at all in any of this. And Heron just like
catching them.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just like plopping down books wherever I'm. And eventually I find one, and it's immediately occurs to Heron that you likely don't speak the language of said book because it would be an old realm. Though I don't actually know your languages offhand, but Heron's probably used to people being like, I can't read this, or what did you just say? Because, simpletons don't know every language in existence. Jeez, catch on, folks. And just kind of shrugs it off and starts fumbling through the pages and whatnot. There's and I'll cut me off if I'm going overboard with any information at any point.
No.
This I'm not going to be trying to go overboard, but
this is about connecting the characters together. So go for it. You have screen time.
Cool. I was more meaning for cult or lore role purposes. Let me know. But anyways, yeah, I scanned through the book, and I don't know, quarter of the way through it, I get to what I'm looking for. See, we are. Well, I guess I should ask, what do you know about yourself, Sagacious Hand, and your powers, and what you are?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Most I know is what I've heard from Arthur Schuss, what I've been listening to from everyone else. trying to figure it out. Really.
Well,
Oh, sorry, I can hear a reverb. Is that the push talk?
sorry, that's because I started talking for a second. But then I realized you were still going, so keep going.
I tried asking Arthur Shuster earlier. Castle's not a very good place to have that conversation.
Well, I can provide you with a few answers as to what you are. You are what is known, well, we all are, I think we all are in a group. I'm not entirely sure. I actually, you know what? No, one of us isn't. Very distinct. But, I guess the modern day term is anathema. The belief that we are basically overtaken by demons. However, that's not entirely the truth. We are chosen by the one known as the unconquered sun, a god which seems to be missing from the lands these days. Some people don't even realize he's real. And well, each of us is divided into a different type of being that we are. And at this point, Heron taps on her forehead and makes her cast mark shine.
Never get over that. Just so pretty.
And
happy.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. I like them, even though I'm not in the Twitch chat at the moment, but that's okay. Yes, Ava, my arm is a thing. Right. I am what is known as a twilight, and I believe you are what is known as an eclipse. And many eons ago, in times forgotten, there were pacts made. And the pacts protect an eclipse from any spirit as long as they are there on a mission specifically to speak, and well, I guess a diplomatic mission would be the easiest way to put it. The protection does not apply if you go there with ill intent under the guise of diplomacy or anything of the sort of that. However, it also extends to your party and those that you are with. So you have the ability and safety to go find any spirit and communicate with them at your leisure, as long as you have no ill intent towards them. And that is what I meant by you could come help us.
The spirits that I can't see, that I don't speak their language.
It might seem a little silly to you.
Seems like I have someone may have chosen pretty poorly there.
It is simply what you are at that. Simply because you cannot speak the language, so if you'd like to learn, I'd be happy to help. But it's simply what you are as your nature, because of pacts made many eons, as I said, ages ago, in a time forgotten by all. I would not even be able to begin to know where and when, or even who made these pacts. But they still are in existence today, as far as I'm aware. Though truth be told, I've never tested it.
But that's why. That I can maybe protect you somehow, just by being there.
Yes, because I have no intentions of going there and, well, messing up any graves and, killing or destroying any spirits. However, they don't always have the same way. Sometimes a spirit wants to hurt us for a variety of reasons. So you simply being there would be, well, just a form of protection. It would make sure that they couldn't attack us unless we intended to.
Sagacious hand looks down at the ground, hands just on the parcel for a while, before looking back up at Sarah. I haven't asked a lot of questions about people's past because a lot of it isn't my business. I wanted to know whether you felt like being the Golden Heron or not. So I have this for you. And he lifts up one of the parcels and moves it towards you. I don't know if you intend to pick up this one, but when we first met, we met under a circumstance where I was trying to protect someone, and the easiest way to do that was to use your skills to forge our way through. I wanted to apologize, because I know how important your stories and your language and your skills... I don't know, we met and suddenly you're involved in an awful lot of criminal activity that I've never done myself. Things tend to work out. I haven't really tried to smuggle people across borders before, so I wanted to say thank you. And he kind of pushes the package forward again.
There's nothing to thank me for, but you're very welcome. And Heron looks down peculiar at the package and picks it up, kind of feels how much it weighs and whatnot, and then ungraciously, is that the word I'm looking for?
Unceremoniously.
There we go, that sounds better. Unceremoniously just tears open the package, hoping that it's nothing too hilariously delicate on the inside that she just destroyed inadvertently. But and of course just leaves a small mess on her floor with all the and takes a look at what it is that she's just been given.
Inside is a cape. The ends of it trail probably down to Heron's knee. She's quite short, I think, like 5 foot something. And it sports the wings of a heron, and it's been crafted using thin panels of gold-painted leather, set with hand-stitched gold beads and sequins. So across the back of it and down the sides, it looks like each panel are feathers of a golden heron that make its way as like a stole around to drape down and have that weight that dangles it.
Heron just kind of like looks at it and like pushes several books off of her table, just like and drapes the cape over the table, and so sorry, I'm being slightly distracted at the moment, and just examines it further. The golden feathers, the heron embroideries.
As parents, we know what it's like being distracted.
And just kind of like gasps a little bit and just kind of like mutters how beautiful this thing is, and like Can I wear this? Is this even it could get thank you. This is beautiful.
Just like you. And I'd like to make an inspire action. He is flirting.
All right.
I'll give
I don't
that.
know what that would be the wording for.
I'll give that a 2-point stunt because you've obviously pre-prepared with some. With some help from striking ball peeing.
Oh gosh, yes. And that's not all. 1 moment. I should actually roll. Is it an inspire or instill, or is it just like I take a flirt action?
Oh, it depends.
Depends if you're trying to give an intimacy or if you're just trying to evoke emotion.
Evoke emotion. So
That's
That'd be
inspire.
inspire.
and not like to make her feel that. 3 successes.
It was a 2-point stunt. Did you add the extra dice?
Did I?
Also, you get a free success.
4 successes.
That does actually hit my my DV. I know it's not called DV anymore, but I'm still back in the Dark Ages. And so you're inspiring.
Oh God, can Plucky or Elkavash help me with wording here insofar as affection?
Yeah. Essentially, if the inspire action is completed, they gain a phantom intimacy at the mage level related to that particular emotion, which you can then key additional social influence off. So it's like if you wanted to super flirt with someone really quickly, you could do like you could instill them with a like you know you like me a little bit, and it starts off at minor, but then to get it up to major, you would have to either another minor intimacy or a major intimacy. So you could inspire a romantic mood and use that as your additional intimacy to help increase the actual tie to you as well.
Yeah. Okay. That is what I would like to do. Inspire romance.
Okay.
At the age-old flirt of, it's beautiful. So are you.
Also, what is Heron's base resolve?
4.
Okay.
Well, 3.5, but 4. Wait, resolve?
Yeah, resolve.
Yeah. Well, that's what's integrity. Yeah. 4.
Okay. So you can spend a willpower to resist, otherwise you are inspired with the feeling of romance.
Heron blushes for a second, and doesn't know how to feel, and feels kind of awkward. I mean, her social interaction with people has been somewhat limited over her life, and no one's ever done that before. And while she's read many stories about it, she does spend the willpower to resist after a moment, but her cheeks are completely flushed and red, and she was taken aback.
I'd like to make a read intentions onto how it was just taken, as to whether or not, are you going to hide the fact that you're like, no. So I'd like to do a read intentions. How did she feel about Sagacious Hand? That 2 dice rolling.
This would be against your guile, which you can apply or not at your leisure.
And what's this? This is...
Guile is wit socialize, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, I have 2.
I've succeeded 3 times.
Well, Normally I'd give this to the GM, but I think this is under my jurisdiction here.
What intimacies do you have
basically-
towards Sagacious Hand? That's what she asked. Or he asked. Was trying to figure out.
There's no. I really probably should make some more direct intimacies toward the party, but there's no direct intimacy towards Sagacious Hand. Normally I think that's all I would give, but I'm going to give more because I feel like it. However, it's not so much a direct intimacy towards Sagacious Hand, but she feels a strong desire to assist and help Sagacious Hand in any way that she possibly can, due to their mutual source of power. Which I think I'm not sure if I'm being completely accurate, being correct there with what information I'm supposed to give, but the question was what intimacies do I have towards Sagacious Hand, and the answer is no direct ones.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to tell you my defining one, but my defining one does line up with Sagacious Hand. But I'll give you a minor intimacy, even though this is not by books. I'm breaking book rules, audience. Good player, breaking book rules. It's just guidelines, anyways, really. But I've always had the view of Exalted, actually, just to go back to even the older editions, where all the rules in the books, they just what they think would be a fun experience. And Exalted has always pointed out that if the rules are ever stopping you from having fun, or you can have more fun, ignore them, change them, break them. I mean, this is a game where, like, by late game, usually like 80% of the powers on your sheet are completely made up and not from the book anymore. Anyways, to get back to that, an intimacy that you do pick up is help those that also hold the light.
Okay. Well, that certainly tells Sagacious Hand that is a hit and a miss there. It's like, okay. So this very, like, out of character thinking here is like, okay, so that was a please come with me, because I need you to stand there. Okay. It's not a, you can protect me because insert various reasons. It's like, oh, because of mystical occult stuff that I have no idea about. Okay. That's cool, I guess. Sagacious Hand kind of moves backwards, like runs a hand through his hair. He's like, sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. I actually came here for 2 things. One being the, and he points to the cowl, the shawl. But whenever you're willing to wear it, and I stand by what I said, that you are beautiful, Karen, and it suits you, should you wish to take up the mantle. But until then, I knew that there was going to be a ball, which means this is going to be an entirely inappropriate gift because I can see that you're packing to go into Crips. So, sturdy shoes, and he passes over another parcel and unwraps it for you, because this one's a lot more delicate this time. It is called the Attributed Author's Attire. It is a full-length gown with underskirts that hide a reinforced leather harness for her book, disguised beneath layers of overlapping fabric, which falls in segments and slits, so she can slip her hand discreetly from hip to buttocks to easily retrieve her book out from underneath the layers. So if it may slap on the back of her legs if she runs, but her hands are going to be free for other things. Sagacious Hand runs through the harness and how it works and how it could be able to attach and discreetly hide the book that he has seen her with almost for an entire year. That always seems quite too large for her to actually be able to be carrying. So this is a way for her to at least have her hands free for something else. With the panels at the front, they are each overlapping segment of the material of the skirt itself is a story. It's all embroidered. There are 3 stories in total that Sagacious Hand is sure that Golden Heron hasn't read yet, and the panels can be moved to create the passages. So one story is written in River Speak, and I actually wrote down books because if you are interested, but one story is written in River Speak. Another panel has all the text in Old Realm, and when the panels of the fabric are folded so that points A and B are touching of the 2 different texts, the remaining unobscured text underneath becomes the text for the 3rd novel, and as the images of the words as they fall into each other have different illustrations for different novels. These ones, when they meld, make the illustrations for the 3rd unseen story. The arms of the dress are fully covered in a fine mesh as a base with a delicate embroidery of flowers and vines across the shoulders that curl towards the bodice, depicting ancient crumbling towers that feature heavily in the adventure novels in an age of abandoned cities and hidden tombs. The towers fall down into the open pages of books, which then those pages become the pleats of the skirt, so to represent that knowledge upon which foundations of civilizations are built and retained. The beauty and worth of the written word and the stories that inspire the best of them. And so he presents you with this elaborate gown, knowing full well you're probably about to go wear it into what could end up being an incredibly awful situation, but at least, yeah. And so he says as much of, if we end up dying, might as well look fabulous while we do it.
Heron almost doesn't hear you say that line as she investigates and reads the first story, and then the yes, Ava, and then the second story, and then pauses and looks at it for a little bit, and knows that there's something else here, and she just studies it for a moment, and then it clicks to her. Yeah, yes, Ava.
Baby.
And Ava, you killed my train of thought. Thanks. Anyways, and it clicks to her, and she starts folding the robes and the ways that need to be done. I can't recreate your description perfectly, so I'm not going to try. To make the new story stand out and become apparent. And she is giddy with excitement that she has never read any of these stories before, and so sorry about all the background noise. And yeah, she looks super thrilled and happy to have all this, and I was actually going to write down an intimacy that you just gained from Heron on my sheet, but I don't know what to quite name it yet. But you did just get an intimacy by providing this gift.
I think I got friendship.
Yeah, that's basically that. Yeah, that would. And brain work. Oh, and she without thinking at all, immediately just doesn't get naked, but disrobes her current garment and then puts on the new dress. And she looks all excited and giddy, and she's like, thank you, and she like grabs your hand and shakes it furiously.
You're most welcome. Striking Volpine helped with most of this, especially the Old Realm text. I know the story, but not in the original. Apparently there's differences, so maybe you could read it to me sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
I should go get dressed myself. I'll meet you up. I'll pick you up. He nods, just kind of backing out. He's like, okay. Yep. He just backs out the door and closes the door behind him. It's just like, yep. I suck at this, and wanders off.
Nah, you just picked the most socially awkward person in existence.
As you exit Heron's caravan and close the door behind you, you can actually see Kalis walking down the pathway towards his caravan, presumably to get ready. The cry of doves, echoes out through the night.
You actually find Kalis walking over to a makeshift campfire he's made. He's been, in the interim, gathering up suitable pieces of sticks and making makeshift torches. He's been pulling up roots from the ground, weaving them into a makeshift basket and finding charcoal embers to stuff them with to make makeshift torches from the various campfires that I assume this large camp will have, and he's gone to the gone out ones and picked them up. Trying to be useful. He's also snacking on one of the trays, not the spirits tray. Kalis,
the tray itself, just
tray. Yeah, it's like, bit of metal. No, it's like he's particularly keen on this like little jar of honey and sips from it regularly.
All right. I get myself changed into attire befitting what appears to be going into crypts. So, a little bit more form-fitting outfit, different, just something different from the day. Forgive me for not being able to think of an immediate change in attire. So,
you don't have an outfit description ready?
All right, give me a minute.
Oh gosh.
Where are we going? Are we going into a crypt that is going to be like, are we talking mud, or is this a finally like kept?
No, this is like the royal crypts in the mountains back behind the city. So like it's like swept paths, stonework, and all that sort of stuff. It might be dusty, but it's certainly not going to be muddy.
Okay. In which case, I will be switching to a white outfit with the knee-high boots and the cape sideways with the gold little bling at the side and the chain that links across it. So it's not mud, it's dust, so you can get away with it being it's an off-white as opposed to blazing white. Brush teeth. Perfume.
Do you disable your bling blings?
Yes.
Any other preparations to do before you guys head off?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go with it. I totally forgot to ask Jason's hand about the salt. Yeah, that sounds good. Who needs salt anyways? We got Nicholas.
Alright, so the three of you meet up at Kaelus's little campfire. Sagacious hand sort of waving Heron over.
We haven't started making our way. It's still at the Excelsior at the moment.
At the moment, yep.
Yep. So, sequence of events as we see it is everyone's going to be up in the gala for the next several hours. We don't know if that protection circle's going to hold on the gas. So there's that. Also, we have a friend tagging along. We are going to be meeting Mr. Mason at the Shrine of Formica. He's going to come. Sagacious hand looks between Kaelus and Heron. It seems that there is an unknown history that he can't speak, and it might be best if he speaks to, if she's there, the previous monarch, Queen Pandea Titus. There might be some closure. So he does a little spin on the spot. I'm ready. I will go and perform my diplomatic duty and stand there beside you, as I won't understand anything that a ghost has said potentially. So, because that is actually a very fascinating question. Will they speak Riverlands because they spoke Riverlands when alive, or do they suddenly develop, because they are now a spirit, an ability to speak Old Realm? Because everyone keeps telling me that spirits speak Old Realm. Old ones do. New ones. Maybe not so useless.
Yeah, I was just double checking if I actually had a charm to help you out with the understanding us, but I didn't take it.
Are you there, Kaelus?
Oh, I don't know. When I speak to the spirits, we speak through song and dance. And that language carries many barriers. Huh?
Found the same.
He is currently dipping, spreading some salt from his little condiment jar onto a piece of chicken and eating it.
Is Golden Heron wearing the dress and or the cape?
She's wearing the dress, but she would have opted to not wear the cape. Not at this moment.
Okay. Sounds like we're off.
Are you sure this is a wise idea? You're quite a fragile thing, Sarah, and this could be dangerous.
I'll be quite alright. That's why we have Sagacious Hand with us. And I might not look it, but I do know how to protect myself.
Sagacious Hand slides his eyes towards Kaelus, like...
What does that look?
The look of I do know how to protect myself. Like, she's so tiny. I won't just disagree, but okay.
Taylor shrugs and hands each of you a couple of torches he's made.
Ah, thank you. See, I would not have thought of this.
It's gonna probably.
Sorry, what was that?
It might be dark wherever you go.
As you set off through
I'm so used to using this as a. Sorry.
No, go.
No.
No?
Important.
Okay. Alright, great. As you set off through the city, back through the gates, carrying your torches, the workers from the Ambulant Excelsior are still sort of dotted through the city, still doing their work, sort of helping patch roofs together and repairing walls and things, pulling weeds from the pavement, all those sorts of things. There's a lot of work to be done throughout the entire city, and they've been at it most of today. And there's a... When you first came here, the land looked withered and dying, and it still does. But the people, whilst also looking similarly withered, had that sort of light and fire in their eyes, that sort of defiance of their seemingly inevitable fate to fade away. After a whole day of this entertainment, that's what you'd like to call it, it's not that they're less sick or not sick. You can see them carrying themselves better. Like they found not just the will, but some semblance of hope as well, carrying them through. So the three of you carrying your torches march up through the streets, taking a left turn at the arc of the promenade. So instead of heading up towards the keep, you turn left at that intersection, moving through some blocks of houses, down some alleyways, before coming up to the steps leading up to the Shrine of Formica. Standing there at the bottom of the steps with a lantern is Mason. He's changed out of his livery and is instead wearing instead a sort of a thick coat, sturdy shoes, trousers and such. But he's also standing there with someone else that you haven't seen yet. A smaller sort of person. One moment, sorry. Who? Sorry, I thought I had this up already. It's a short, dark-skinned woman with a shaved head and wearing what could probably amount to a Hessian sack with a hemp rope for a belt, sort of just tucking it in around her waist, sort of just barely revealing her figure. She's standing there with a lantern, and Mason has one as well. They just seem to be in some conversation before you arrive. And as you approach, they stop and turn to greet you. Mason is the first to speak, introducing you to his companion here. Sorry, I just have to find his voice again. Oh, geez, where's the old man gone? Well, sirs, may I present the esteemed, sagacious hand of the ebullient Excelsior, Kalis Kodan, and Miss Sarah. Sagacious hand, Kalis, Sarah. This is Maze of the Uncut Chief, the head priest of the Order of Formica. To be able to access the catacombs, we will need to move through the shrine, and I have gained Maze's permission to head up and pay our due respects as visiting dignitaries for the first time in a long time. Have shown some interest in our storied history. Maze sort of bows to you all in turn.
Sagacious hand greets her also.
Kalis pops his torch into the ground, gathers up some grass from the siding, although wilted and it's like not full of life state, and begins to proceed with a dance. He rustles the leaves, making them seem like they're bursting out as saplings before spreading into what appears to be a field, prospering, showing the season of from growth to harvest to gathering and the joy that it brings, of fertility, of the struggle of life and rebirth. So I would like to... this is like him greeting a priest in his who he gathers that is to do with fertility and of the field. So it's just showing his respect and it wants to make a good impression on the priest. So
are you wanting to make an instill of some kind, or?
I believe I do. I'm not sure if this is a 1,000 courtesans ways kind of instill or not. I think he might.
Well, her base result is 2, so you get your appearance bonus dice for this one.
Fantastic. So while this might seem like a shamanistic sort of ritual of fertility to the rest of them, this is stirring a passion in the new person of a romantic intrigue into Kalis. I'm going to kick in my Master Performance exercise, so I don't get any penalties for group influence. And I will proceed to... What's the average base result of everybody?
4.
The model was 2.
Oh, yeah.
So wait, are you doing this to everyone who is present?
Yeah. Obviously not the because 1,000 courtesans ways allows you to have a group target of one thing, but then also at the same time inspire a different feeling in maybe potential suitors or romantic interests. So that's what I'm doing. So the rest of them was just see a dance about the joys of life and fertility, whereas the priest will see the romantic potential in Kalis, hopefully.
My resolve is 4, by the way.
Cool. I'll just use 4 then. That would probably be, if that's okay with you, Elk.
What's the instill?
I think generally I would like to instill an appreciation for the goddess of fertility. Like the appreciation and the wonder of fertility in life in general. Like, if that's okay, something around that sphere for the general dance.
Okay, so use 4 as your base resolve on that one, and but then after that, roll an extra 2 dice for the courtesan instill.
Nice. I'll just roll those 2 dice and add it onto the end result of this, shall I? Is that
that's the idea? Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm with you. Excellent. So that's 7, 9, 12. 12 dice. Go to the dice roller, folks. This is so like cool having the dice roller on the channel. Like, what was that? Ooh, yikes! That was So I got 5.
That second one, roll it again without the arrow 6, because we don't know whether that was a 10 or not.
Oh gosh, no, it won't be a. Can I just take this success, or is that not?
Alright.
Now for the 2. Sorry, Alka, completely forgot, but I'd rather just take the success than be greedy and try and get a double success, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it kind of penalizes me for being stupid.
Every player is. Don't feel that.
Okay. 2 secs. Oh, Plucky is not good at dice rolling. Sorry, folks at home. Just Okay, so I got 5 successes on the roll to everybody, and then 7 successes on my. Look at Kalis, isn't he intriguing? Who is this shaman from faraway lands?
And just confirming that instill was like respect for the god. Is that right?
Yeah, like I feel like as we're in like going into this goddess's territory and her like shrine, that we should like, is reverence the right word? Do you think? I'm sorry, sometimes I find
reverence is good.
Sort of, you know, just because I'm like aware that you folks don't have like angered spirits before, and I feel like let's get on the start fit. So let's go in with the mindset to be respectful and like appreciative of this goddess and what she does.
Specifically Formica or all spirits?
Just Formica.
Okay. Is it Formica or Formica?
With an M.
Okay.
Formica.
As in ant.
Yeah. Formic acid. I like it.
Ants are tasty, but a little sour.
Are they sour?
I like the honey.
Well, I've never eaten an ant, so I don't know.
The acid, it's like vinegar. Huh? After his little dance, Kalis will lean down and peer at the lanterns, and like turn to like hand with a smile on his face. They have weird torches. What are these things? And he like looks back at them.
Okay, so Mason is beaming, like he's very happy. You've made quite the impression on him, and you can tell without even trying. Heron, this does extend to you as well for being in their company. Maze, on the other hand, is a lot more just solemn, very sort of serious. And after the dance is complete, she bows very deeply and you honor us with your reverence. If you don't mind, before we take the 1,000 steps, if I may ask, what is your interest?
Well, simply, I'm looking into. Well, we as a group are looking into. Assuming I'm answering the right question here, we as a group are looking into, well, the troubles of this land and what's causing them. Even at request of the prince. And well, we're just sometimes the dead are a good place to start looking when such ails befall a land. So I've read, at least.
I will not question my lord's judgment on the matter. I was merely curious.
I come to help a friend on his journey through life.
You don't look dressed for this occasion. You look like you should be at the keep. Is this to be a short visit?
I'm not sure.
Very well. If you are so interested, there is to be a ceremony here at the temple tomorrow morning. The good Lord King Marcus is going to be in attendance with the proceeding, making more prayers and offerings to the goddess Formica, in the hopes of healing the land. Perhaps you might like to attend?
Yeah, I was planning to attend after our spirit friend out of character. What? How do you say his name again?
Gama.
This is plucky dyslexia. Karma.
Senin.
Karma Senin had invited us and suggested that it would be most intriguing and fortuitous for us to attend, but I appreciate your invitation as well. It is nice to know that we are welcomed by the priesthood of Fornica.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with this spirit. Is there another god in this lands?
I believe that Denova, a priest, told us that he was, he looks to like Han, as it's like, help me out here.
There is another spirit that is observing the proceedings. Beyond that, I do not know the ways of spirits. I'm certain that they will probably be in attendance tomorrow morning. Can you see spirits? He asks of the priestess.
No. I don't need to see to believe.
Have you any idea what has happened to the land? Why? What could have happened with the goddess here?
The fields have always been verdant. It could simply be mourning for the loss of our monarch. As some of us at the Uncut Sheaf are of the impression that perhaps Marcus is not favoured by the goddess, and that we would do well to return control of the kingdom to the royal bloodline who originally received her blessing.
So the goddess favours a bloodline, or favours the ruling monarch.
All was well until the great Lady Tydeus passed almost a decade ago. That was when we first noticed the period of decline.
I have no further questions at this time unless you guys do. I'm happy to just continue on.
Chaos return to Sarah. Do you have in your House of Words any knowledge or story of God's favor on people being lost and the lands receding into shadowy twilight?
I want to make a roll just in case, but I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
I'm sorry, I actually missed that. A roll to determine what?
I'm gonna make a roll to see if there is any truth to that, just in case Elka has any GM shenanigans going on. But typically the answer would be no. I'm talking out of character. It's why I'm using my normal voice. Also, Ava says hi.
Wow, 59. You nailed that row.
5 successes. Sorry, guys.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. There is a lot of differing opinion on this matter. The anathema known as the Deceivers were known to have bound God, spirit, and man alike into chains of oaths that they could not break, forcing gods to act or withhold their favor as suited the whims of the demon inside its host. A lot of the Immaculate teaching suggests that the god should have no business interfering with the working of the world at all. That they have assigned roles that they should stick to and never deviate from. Often these gods are known by the mortal cultures who have grown up in and around their particular territory and sometimes receive some amount of veneration, but to prevent demonic happenings or accidental issues, the only people who should truly be communicating with spirits in any way, shape, or form are the immaculate monks and priests themselves. But then you have disparate tribes, like Kalus's own people, who venerate spirits as a matter of course. Whether their prayers are answered or not depends on the god or spirit in question, but there is no doubt that dotted about the lands of creation, the existence of gods and spirits that can influence the land is well known, and sometimes you can garner their favor. Sometimes in overt ways, sometimes in ways subtle. It wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility for a god or spirit to favor a particular bloodline due to their specific whims, but according to most of the reading material you've ever been given by your teachers, it's not the proper way of things.
So to answer your question, it's certainly not impossible, but and gods definitely do favor certain bloodlines over one another. That's a thing that happens. But it's not the norm. It's not right, and it's a little far-fetched to imagine that a god would specifically try to plunge the land into shadows.
It does not sound something that I have heard of, but I know that I am only seen a small part of this creation as a whole, and I am not foolish enough to think I am the wisest in these matters. And as such, it would honor me if I could learn some of the performances and rites of your order, if you have the time to spare at some point. I feel I would be enriched by learning how you honor Formica. His question directed at the priest. Yes.
If you wish to learn, you need only attend. We don't withhold such knowledge. Anyone who wishes to join the proceedings is more than welcome. We have never received a visitation from Formica. But we trust and we believe. I don't know what else more to say. I apologize for taking up so much of your time. Shall we get moving, for you?
Okay, let's. Oh, sorry, Dux.
Yes, let's go.
So
Dennis will lean down to Scacia's hand and says, "Do you have a bad feeling about this as well?"
No. I'm not sure what we're going to find, but I may not necessarily have faith in the spirits, but I have faith in us. We'll be fine. Bright smile, smack on the back of the, like, I can't reach his shoulder, so it's like a smack on the arse almost, that we'll be fine. Inspire confidence.
Kalis beams back. Where you lead, I follow.
Arse slap of confidence plus 12. It's a common move with football players.
We're off on a secret mission.
So, Maze turns and leads you up the small walkway towards the shrine, but rather than going inside, she leads you to a pathway going around the side. There's a large iron gate that is shackle closed. She produces a large iron key and unlocks it, parting the gateway for you. Seeing as you have torches, she doesn't offer you her lantern, but just says to follow this path up the side of the mountain foothills. This is the 1,000 steps. Once you reach the top, you'll come to the catacombs where the royal family is interred. Obviously, she says, obviously I don't have to warn you not to disturb anything in the catacombs. With that, she just lets that statement rest. She gestures to let you past.
Nice. 2 meters forward.
Would you guide us to the ladyship's final resting place, Mr. Master Mason? Sorry, I'm really getting confused. I keep calling Mesa. It's Mason.
Mason, Mr. Mason.
Yeah, Mr. Mason.
Oh, of course, he says. And he begins trudging up. Now, there aren't literally 1,000 steps. Or maybe there are, unless you specifically want to count them. But it is a long way up. It takes you maybe half an hour to climb the zigzagging path up the side of the mountain foothills, leading up and around into this natural cave opening that has been sort of etched. The stones around the sides of the cave have sort of been carved and etched so as to make a much more sort of visually appealing archway leading into the catacombs within. The journey is tiring. I'm not going to get you to make a stamina roll. We'll just say that Mason is certainly out of breath, and he only gets halfway up before he needs to stop, catch his breath, and then start moving on. Unless you help him, it will extend the journey for another half hour. It is quite a distance you're traveling.
Kalis will ask Sarah if she wouldn't mind helping him with the counting of the steps. He gets to quite a high number for him, and then struggles. But he's deliberately trying to count out 1,000 steps as he thinks it's significant.
One.
He will
Need Sarah's help.
Wow, it wasn't that bad, but yeah, that kind of thing.
You got the 10.
Yeah.
10. Sarah gives you a perplexing look, and then just shrugs. Sure.
He would also offer to help friend Mason with the ascent if he needs it, but
to help him, you would have to actually carry him.
Yeah, I mean, Kalis would happily carry his friend, but only if he would feel comfortable doing so.
You know what? Ordinarily, he wouldn't feel comfortable because it's Kalis Kodan. When they have just recently come to an understanding with each other, he is more than happy to receive assistance from you. He doesn't feel embarrassed.
Are you putting him on your shoulders, or are you holding him fireman style?
I will allow him to be seated comfortably on my broad shoulders, but I'll make sure
with the arm, like
my arm will like help like hold him in place so he doesn't fall, so he can like rest against it. So I'm kind of doing, I guess, like, you know, the where you like flex your muscles like on your shoulder. So like one hand's doing that, so like, so he can like hold on if he needs to and have a comfortable seat.
You mean something like that?
I can't see where have you posted it.
Oh, in the stream. It doesn't matter.
Okay. That should shorten our journey time, I hope.
Yeah, well, it takes half. If you help him, it takes half an hour.
Yeah. Nice.
We
I
get
should-
to
I'll leave him behind.
I'm
at
sorry,
this
but
point is
Did we get to 1,000 steps?
you know, I'm not actually sure what a realistic number there would be. It just 1,000 just sounded like a good number. I'll say it's a little over 1,000, maybe 1,022, just cause.
Oh,
once the number of thousands reach, Kalis Kodan will like stride up the stairs and not need to worry about counting them.
the journey of 1,000 steps begins with apparently 22.
I've got boundless endurance out, so even though I'm carrying Mason, I shouldn't be. Hopefully, in theory, I should be like still pretty unperturbed by the ascent.
Trucking on.
Yeah, that should be fine. But you, as I mentioned, you get to this natural cave opening. The stone work archways have been sort of etched in. It's natural rock, not like additional fascia artifice being put on, and it's been specifically carved to look like this great and grand archway opening up for you.
Should we announce ourselves?
That's a good question. You announce yourselves?
To the crypt?
Yeah, Sagacious Hand says it outright to Sarah. Should we announce ourselves?
I suppose it couldn't hurt.
Ooh, wow. Deep music. I have no stunt prepared, so Sagacious Hand begins the polite but reverent introduction toward moving up to touch the archway, in the same way that they were announced by Mr. Mason, which is Sagacious Hand of the Ebullient Excelsior, accompanied by Kalis Kodan, the scribe Sarah, and Mr. Mason of Caldor Keep. We come to seek words with those long gone, departed, deceased, hopefully to be heard from once more. He bows in the archway towards the spirits, or ghosts, if they are there, he certainly can't see, and begins to walk on in with the intent to speak with Lady Tydeus, to lead the way with everyone else to follow. hoping that he is providing an adequate meat shield.
I'm going to activate the spirit seeing charm. I can't remember his name offhand.
Spirit detecting glass?
That's the one. I really need to get my character sheet moved over to my main computer these days. But yeah, so I activate spirit detecting glance as we enter the crypts.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Walking down this initial entryway, the walls here are carved out in stone relief that seems to reflect some of the tapestries you've seen in the castle. This entryway tells of the history of Kaldor. Of its rise several centuries ago.
I read them. What do they say?
Sorry, I was.
Sorry, I'm just grabbing some food for Ava. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Of a meeting between what looks to be a family who have darkened hair, speaking with a large insect-like creature whose hands end in scythes. Ceremony seems to take place between them, and those gathered in the ceremony walk away with hair like golden wheat. They sow fields and they build up their settlement, and over time they become great and powerful. They raise a mighty army, but seek not to expand their borders or territories, using their army only to protect what was sacred to them, their home and their lands. So when the kaleidoscopic armies, the realm, enter into their lands, great victory is won by a large man with dark hair and a great broad blade. But so many of those with the golden hair are cut down in the conflict. The last relief over the final doorway into the crypts inside. To open the door would be to pass through the visage of King Alexander Marcus. To his left, a young woman with the golden hair. To his right, an older woman, golden hair. pushing on the stone doorway, this sigh of air from inside comes out. It's not stagnant. It doesn't smell like you would imagine a crypt to smell. No ash, no burning, just almost a soft incensey smell. And the lights from your torches spill inside. There are rows upon rows of coffins. Their lids carved with the reliefs of members of the family. There are 50 in total, although you can tell that the last 20 or so were made relatively close together and in time. They don't show the same kind of wear. And as you walk down the middle of these rows of sarcophagi, leads up to what would be an altar, 3 steps higher. And there are 3 sarcophagi here. One is open and empty. One bears the resemblance of the younger woman with golden hair, and the other the older. And sitting atop the sarcophagi of the older woman is a spirit that Heron can see. While she may once have been a graceful woman of unearthly beauty, long golden hair and fair skin, her bearing effortlessly kind and noble, you could almost feel her warmth emanating from the many portraits of her hanging about the castle keep. However, now she is a shadow of her former self. In her ghostly form, she still possesses much of the beauty she held in life, but her cheeks are stained by endless tears, and her wrists are marred by the lines of bloody cuts that could have only have been self-inflicted by her own nails. She sits there, scratching at her wrists, sobbing. And that's where we'll take our first break tonight.
Ooh.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to take a short break now, probably about 15 minutes. I'm just going to go grab myself a drink.
Ooh, can I have a coffee, please?
I certainly can make you whatever you like. Thank you very much for watching. We'll try and make this one nice and short. Please enjoy our wait screen.
Bye.
And welcome back. Thank you very much for sticking with us. We have returned. Last we left off, the players had spelunked their way. Well, not really spelunked, I suppose. They walked into a cave. Does that count as spelunking?
No.
At what point in passing into a cave does it start counting as spelunking?
When ropes become involved.
I'd also question how splunky it is when the cave's clearly been interior decorated.
On that jovial note, Sarah, or Golden Heron, has just come face to face with what appears to be the ghosts of the late monarch Pandea Tydeus, sitting on top of her sarcophagus, scratching at her wrists and crying.
Heron just looks at her. Well, could you actually remind me of the name of said lady? I'm terrible with names, and I need to write far more of them down than I do.
She would be referred to as the Lady Pandea Tydeus.
I will attempt to greet her in River Speak first. And I will greet her greetings, the lady of Pandea Tydeus. Yeah, I got that. I got it right? I got it right! Okay, cool. Greetings, the lady of Pandea Tydeus. We have come to speak with you. And I will look at her dead in the eyes, even if she's not looking at me.
Ah. Dead in the eyes.
She does look up. Her gaze is far away. She almost seems to look through you. She does seem to be acknowledging your presence. She does not respond, though.
Why do you cry? Will you speak with me? I will switch to Old Realm here. Why do you cry?
Takes a few moments for her eyes to find focus. Looking at you more directly. There's a slight shift in her movement, and her form seems to stutter, as if it's having trouble fully realizing itself before she appears before you, stooped down to look you in the eyes, about an inch from your nose. This woman is tall, maybe just over 6 feet.
Karen is a bit taken aback, having the tall, scary ghost lady just kind of like stutter into directly in front of her face. But she does her best to just kind of ignore any of her fear, and Why do you shed tears? What has upset you so? I'm here to help.
The scratching ceases. She reaches out a hand and just reaches it towards your face. Her nails aren't like claws. They are in fact sort of immaculately manicured, well kept, but just long, as you would expect from a high society noble, probably. She just runs the tip of her nails down the side of your face. She's not material, so there's no real feeling associated with it, except for a slight sort of shiver on your cheek, like something cold had passed you. One moment, sorry. But when her hand does pass against your cheek, it's not so much that she has spoken. But the answer just comes to you. Because I am sad.
What causes your sadness, my lady?
She stutters back away from you, peering before her daughter's sarcophagus, running her hand over the top of it, still not speaking.
Is it because you watched your daughter pass away?
She looks up at
Heron,
you.
Heron approaches the coffin and looks at it solemnly.
She looks up at you and just slowly shakes her head.
How may I be of service? I'd like to help you.
She moves towards you, this time not stuttering, more fully realized, just dragging her ghostly hand across the top of Selena's sarcophagus, coming to stand before you again, before crouching down onto her haunches so that she can look at you eye to eye. She just puts out her hand to you.
How is the hand put out? Like take my hand?
Yeah, like... Oh, sorry, I'm videoing. Yes, she puts her hand out to you, as if to say, take my hand.
I extend my hand out.
Making contact with her. It's like you get visions, flashes through your mind of people standing about in various rooms of the castle. Rooms even that you hadn't been in. People looking upon her portraits. Some with reverence, some mutely. More than all of them, you see Jonathan looking up at her. The idea starts to form that they're all asking for her help. And she doesn't know how to do it.
Do you know what causes the troubles that this land has had? The tears that have fallen from your portrait every night? Why the land is plunging into darkness? I was asked to excise you and send your spirit away, but I'm not so certain that you're the true problem here. I feel that there is something else at work. I don't believe that someone who wishes to help her people would be the one to cause all this grief.
Through your connection, you get more flashes. Of a young girl with beautiful blonde hair. Just playing in a meadow. Sitting down with her mother in the garden, in some distant place, scratching a hole in the ground, taking an acorn and planting it, or covering it back over. Of a young man with blonde hair, resembles Jonathan. A shadow across his eyes. A vision of looking down at the same boy, sleeping in his bed. A vision of a wedding taking place under a great oak tree. The golden-haired Selena and the dark-haired Marcus. A vision of Selena screaming in childbirth. A vision of her being covered by the veil. Visions of Marcus with his son. An almost churning sensation of vertigo. She pulled up to the city from above. See a dark shadow looming inside the castle keep. And you feel yourself to begin to cry. Mist spread throughout the city. The darkness passes over, not harming anyone, before returning and receding with the dawn. And that's where the visions end.
Do you need some time to buffer as a player?
Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking there. I actually missed where the darkness came from. I got the visions of the wedding, of the Marcus and Leanna, the golden-haired Leanna.
Selena.
Selena. All right. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. And then I got where the the darkness spread over the town, didn't injure anybody, didn't harm anyone, and then receded. Where did it recede to?
It came from and receded to the keep.
The keep. Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. That's what I missed. All right. So it isn't the keep. All right. Well, guess I wasted my time here. Nah, not really. Is there a traitor in the kingdom? Do you know? I will stop this darkness. I will save your kingdom. I will give you the people the help that they need. I will do it in your name.
Sand?
Are you speaking in Old Realm or with a speaker point?
I believe I'm speaking in Old Realm because she was sort of responding to my river speak.
She actually speaks both, so you could have been speaking either.
I see. I switched to Old Realm at one point because I got more response out of Old Realm than I got River Speak. If it ever became a problem, I would have just shifted back and forth. But Old Realm was what I was speaking in at that point, so I might not have been helping you very much.
Does Kayla speak Old Realm?
Oh, does Kayla speak languages? Can Kayla write languages? Good question. No, he'll lean over to friend Mason and be like, I believe our sailor is talking in spirit tongue to the ladyship, and would nod like knowledgeably.
What has she said?
I do not speak spirit tongue. We will have to ask Miss Sarah.
At this point, I don't turn to the party, but I acknowledge you guys while I'm still looking at the lady. And her people are asking her for help, and she doesn't know how to help them. She's showing me where the source of the issues lie, to an extent. I don't believe she knows exactly what's going on.
Would it? Sorry, Dux. I thought you did.
That's all right. It's whatever it is. It's in. I suppose we knew that already. But when the tears come, we'll sleep. Darkness spreads from the keep. A shadowy form. It doesn't seem to harm anyone. But then it recedes by morning. That might be what's poisoning the food, poisoning the crops, harming the water supplies.
Would it?
Sagacious. Sorry.
No, you carry on, Vay.
Sagacious Hand puts his hand into Mr. Mason's and gives it an encouraging squeeze.
Oh.
You should ask her your question. She can hear you. You can get your response, whatever you would like to say to her, whatever you didn't while she was still around. Hello, goodbye, or farewell.
We parted on good terms. I have further to say to my lady.
Kalis, would it help her ladyship to get our aid if she was able to join us in this side of the veil?
What do you mean? She's not passed on. She's being kept here.
It seems that she is still being she is still protecting her people even in her passing. But I meant much like Afrashata called for Guma Kama Santra? No?
Kama Semen.
Kama Semen to join us so we could all see him. Maybe I could do the similar ceremony performance. I am a shaman after all. It might be in my power. If Miss Sarah thinks that it would aid in our supporting of the ladyship's efforts, and if it would aid her in getting our help, then I could try, but only if the ladyship wishes it so, and Miss Sarah thinks it's advisable.
I'm not sure it would bring her comfort. From the visions that she's given me, she wants to help her people. I don't think she can pass on until her people have been helped.
I am not talking about passing on, although obviously it would be good if we save the people so she can find rest. I am talking about how did Frishata explain it? Something about essence convergence and different states, and a state aligned with our creational wavelength. He uses such weird words. Like we are solid, not like air.
Spirits can take physical form if they so choose, though it is a heavy toll on them.
Perhaps if I perform a ceremony to guide the way, it will be easier.
Do you know thaumaturgy?
I have been taught some ceremonies. Well, I say taught. When I was a little child, I used to sneak and spy on the elders and shamans of my tribe, and so I garnered their ceremonies and performances, I feel confident if Frishata can do it, I can as well.
Dux is dead.
Mason squeezes Sagacious hand back.
After all,
I didn't know. I thought she passed over, as was right, as proper. I did not think she would be here.
Perhaps whatever it is that burdens you, still burdens her now. Whatever secret it is that between you, that crossed out name. To be rid of that burden.
At the mention of a crossed out name, Pandaea disappears from Heron's personal space and reappears, looming over Sagacious hand. Her visage taking on a much more horrid and violent looking tone. Her hair starting to rise, her eyes glowing red. Her fingernails now actually starting to look like claws. She hisses. An empty, dry hiss.
Sagacious hand smiles encouragingly because I can't see anything.
The Sagacious hand cannot see you, unfortunately. What makes? Oh, she's more than just beside you. She's right in front of you. I'm pretty glad that you're here at the moment, to be honest. What is it about that name that angers you so? Who is the crossed out, the burned out name? The exiled one from the family?
The anger seems to dissipate and retreat back into sadness as she sort of wafts back towards her sarcophagus, sitting atop it, her fingers scratching at her wrists again. Just shakes her head and pulls her legs up, almost like a scared little girl.
Twins.
Twins?
Maybe. It is what the wind's wisdom has carried to me.
What?
Candace, for some reason, has got the instinct that maybe that it may be her twin that is the child of the night, and she is the child of light. I don't know if that's right, but Kalis believes it, so he's gonna go with it.
Okay.
I walk back up to the lady and of Tedeus and I reach out my my hand to touch hers, and I am not attacking her, but I am activating spirit cutting attack so that she can feel my touch for a moment.
Okay.
Truly.
Okay.
The burned out name. Does it have something to do? Does that person have something to do with all of this? Why does it evoke such emotion in you, such anger and such sadness at the same time? I guess I should read intent here. Maybe that's a good idea. I'm just not good at reading intent.
Are you still speaking in Old Realm?
I'll switch back to River Speak.
Thank you. Sagacious hand stands about and strokes the dead coffins, as opposed to the alive coffins.
Coffins have lives.
Look at this one, it has legs and is moving about!
Put it down, Denovo, put it down.
Did you have something to add or say, Hand?
Not at this point.
I get that the darkness comes from the keep. Comes from the keep. But anything else you can tell me or show me? I wish to help your people.
She lays a hand on yours. Oddly, this interaction doesn't feel cold. It's almost warm. And you see the vision of the acorn being planted. And then the marriage under the great oak tree. The little boy with blonde hair. The little boy with blonde hair asleep in his bed as a shadow looms over him. Your shadow. Your hands. Dirty. Bloody. The wedding again. The oak tree somehow more in focus than the couple being married. Your hands, dirty and bloody. And then the visions end.
The name is the boy. The blonde-haired boy. Why doesn't Jonathan have blonde hair? I guess it's no. Jonathan married into the family.
Jonathan does have blonde hair.
He does have blonde hair. Okay, I thought you specifically noted he had dark hair. No, it was shadow over his eyes. All right. I'm more and more thinking Jonathan's the problem. She's showing me an acorn was planted under the great oak tree, or not under the great, and became the great oak tree. She's showing me the wedding that took place there, and she's showing me a blonde-haired boy in bed.
Mason begins to cry.
Sagacious hand comforts him. Get him around. Oh. Please, you need to say it, or this will stay with you forever. And persuade him to speak.
You'll need to roll for that.
Sorry. Four times? 4 successes.
Blubbers. And Lady Tydeus also starts to cry again. And as Mason speaks, with Golden Heron's hand touching hers, she sees the scene play out through the eyes of Lady Tydeus. Scenes of two twins born, both with golden hair. One a boy, one a girl. Scenes of them growing up together while young. Planting their seeds. Scenes of the girl growing distant and despondent. Glances of interactions, we're not sure. Hearing a scream before rushing into a room to find them there. The girl in the corner, huddled in, hugging herself. The boy standing over her. Screams at night. Screams during the day. Will eventually the screams stop. Shadow looming over his bed. Your hands taking his life in yours. Phoebus was a troubled child. there was pain in him. A darkness that his mother couldn't see. His father wouldn't. I found him one night in his sister's room. She had lost the will to fight him anymore. His eyes had grown cold. I told her ladyship, and Phoebus was never seen again. And I was sworn to secrecy.
So he was never seen again?
Ever. I know not where he lies, if he was killed or cast out, but we agreed never to speak of it. After he was gone, it took years for Lady Selena to return to her younger, brighter self. And it pains me to say that all was well.
You don't know this Phoebus killed her.
Sorry, Faye, you're cutting out there.
You don't know whether this Phoebus was killed or cast out. Sagacious Hand looks towards where he suspects the spirit is. Which is it? Did she kill her own son? Protect the other. As I can't see any reaction, I wait for response from Sarah.
Heron, your hands are bloody and dirty.
The most disturbing thing is she's been showing my hands being bloody. I imagine that he was killed.
Mason continues to cry and just starts talking, going on about how much Jonathan looked like Phoebus. That the lady Tydeus took a special interest in him, not just because his mother had passed. She was much more hands-on with him, guiding his every development. As if she was trying to shape him into something specific, or guide him away from a particular path. But then she died. Peacefully in the night, 10 years ago. And that's when everything changed. The world seemed to grow darker. The kingdom fell into decline.
do your friend Mason, I know this is a difficult time, but I have a question. Were there in the family bloodline ability to hear the spirits or see them or be affected by them? Is that do they have the shaman's blood within them, particularly the males of that line?
Don't know. Stories tell of the original pact between Vormika and their family. But I have never known a spirit to appear before them, or for them to call one down.
And I think we must find the resting place and perform the proper rites. I suspect that perhaps this oak tree may be, in a way, a beginning and hopefully a place where we can bring this to a restful end. If my suspicion and the winds guide me well. Miss Sarah. Would you ask her ladyship if we will find Phoebus resting in the oak tree shadow?
I repeat the question of the oak tree. Yeah, if Phoebus is in the oak tree shadow.
See the wedding again. Now knowing you're looking through her eyes. She was not looking at the couple that day. She was looking at the tree.
I believe so, yes. The day of your daughter's wedding. She wasn't watching the wedding.
Miss Sarah.
Lady Tadeus, Sagacious Hand, bows in the general direction. Have you been watching over Jonathan since he passed over?
She nods. Which you can't see.
Sarah, help!
Sorry, could you repeat that?
She nods.
She nods.
Sagacious Hand is going to ask the same question of everyone present. That does anyone feel that Lady Tadeus is a malevolent spirit? It sounds that an action has been taken that has caused much regret and pain and heartbreak for everyone, both past and still here, and he squeezes Mason's hand again. But from everything that I've seen, she seems like a good woman. Is that what everyone believes? Like, asking for general consensus here. Is this a person who just wanted to look out for what's best for her family?
I believe so, yes. I don't think she truly is a hungry ghost. But if things are... who knows what will happen to her spirit. Thank you, Lady Thaddeus.
I have a request of the ladyship, if I may, Miss Sarah, if you would pass my request on.
Of course.
Friend Mason has carried that secret in his soul, in the core of his being, and it has weighed heavy on him. He has revealed it. I ask that the ladyship grants him absolution of that revelation between us, and in that absolution maybe eases the weight that he has carried for so long.
I would like to make a suggestion. Sagacious again. You wanted me here because I can somehow act as a bridge between spirits and mortal kind. Being told by someone that someone forgives you is not going to be enough. Being told by someone, thank you, on someone else's behalf is not going to be enough. There's this epic hesitation. I know that spirits can possess people. What if I give her a way to walk amongst the living, to actually speak with Mason, to see her grandchild, to take us to this tree?
I can't say I recommend that, but
If there's
it could be
anything
very dangerous. Even, I believe she should pass on if we can help her sorrows. Many spirits can't pass on because their sorrows or their attachments in life are never dealt with properly. And they don't ever, I'm rusty on my my Exalted lore occult here. Jeez. Whatever. If I say inaccurate stuff, I say inaccurate stuff. They their souls often don't. If their attachments to life are fulfilled, their souls can finally accept the calling of oblivion. I think it's oblivion. No, void.
No.
What'd you say, sorry?
Lath.
Lath? Oh, left. Yeah, left. Sorry.
Oh, you don't want to go to
less
oblivion.
traumatic version.
My offer still stands to do as Arthur Shasta did and guide the spirit into the land of the living, so some measure of peace for the dead and the living could be found. It may be safer than possession.
Go for it. If not, Sagacious, if anything goes wrong with the possession, I will personally deal with it.
It is up to you, Chieftain. Do you wish to take the route of possession, or do you want to see if I can do as Arthur Shasta has done?
Try to copy Arthur Shasta. If you can't, then perhaps we'll do the route of possession. I can't really truly recommend possession. I think there's a lot that could go wrong. There could be a lot that we don't understand.
Kalis will look sagacious. Oh. Kalis will look sagacious and waiting for the chieftain's decision.
Yeah. Mason needs something. And if giving her form is the way to do it, then I think you should.
Mason, are you ready, my friend? And do you wish one last time with your ladyship?
He nods. Just trying to straighten up his jacket as if, you know, because he can't see her, she can't see him somehow. He's just trying to make himself look appropriate for the moment. Starts sort of mumbling about how he should be in his livery if he knew that he was going to be meeting the great lady.
Kalis motions for Miss Sarah to step back, moves Sagacious hand to one side, takes the tray that's full of like food for the spirit. Perhaps one last serving of afternoon food would be in order. Mr. Mason, and he hands him the tray and motions for him to be seated as if he's about to perform a tea ceremony or the serving of food, as he might once have done to his ladyship. And with this, he will try and mimic Arthur Shasta, but also the shamans. So we have this weird hybrid of the both as he begins to I, Shaman Kalis Kodan, call to the other side of the veil and ask that you attend one last serving with your loyal servant so that you can say your goodbyes proper and any burdens that may have been carried due to your parting be eased. Come forth for one last communion. And I will activate my Zenith Anima power.
Using personal or peripheral modes?
Using personal. This is deeply personal for Kalis Kodan.
Don't bother rolling, she won't resist.
Nice.
From the perspective of Sagacious Hand, Kalis, and Mason, it's as if the sun rises outside the cave, spilling light in the soft wafting of just the ambient dust particles through the air. A figure can be seen just barely. And as the light shifts and the reflection of the light on the dust becomes brighter, the figure almost flashes into existence. A swirl of sunlight spilling out into a long, beautiful gown, bursting upwards, then fall down into long, beautiful golden locks. her fair skin taking place. She looks exactly like she did in the painting. The Heron, you notice that as she materializes, the tear stains on her cheeks and the scratches on her wrists dissipate and vanish. She steps forward, kneels before Mason, who just sort of shudders as he's trying to hand her a cup of tea on a platter, clattering away. He just lays a gentle hand on his wrist, which seems to calm him, and leans down and kisses him on the forehead. He seems to sigh in relief before his eyes flutter closed, and she gently lays him back down onto the ground to sleep. She stands back up again, looks amongst you, and nods her head solemnly. Thank you, she's now able to say. My people call, and I must go. She walks towards the exit of the cave. Not looking back, and disappearing into the ethereal light rays as the phantom sun dissipates and takes her with her, leaving you alone in the room. End session.
Good session. I liked it.
No prizes for guessing who's going to have to carry him back down, huh?
Don't look at Heron is all I'm gonna tell you. Unless you want the old man to die. I should be your first choice.
I will give all three of you your expression bonuses, because that was some nice role-playing.
Oh, thank you.
Heron, you have revealed some occultic secrets, so you also get your roll bonus.
Sick.
And you have uncovered one of the major clues of what's afflicting the kingdom. So the entire group gains 1 regular experience point. Please let the others know.
It's an acorn.
I thought the plan was to hoard the XP and not share it with the party.
Could we like? No, I'm joking. I was gonna say, could we keep it and then have 2 experience? But no. So close to my child. I can taste it. It's in my little maw.
Well, thank you very much, everyone who's viewing us live, and thank you for those who are sort of watching on YouTube. The last episode I actually haven't gotten up yet because I'm having some issues with the video editing software, trying to sort of patch it all together. So yes, once again, thank you very much. This has been Elkavash, the storyteller. Thank you very much for watching. Vero playing Sagacious Hand. Paradox playing Golden Heron, or Sarah. And Lucky Hero playing Kayla's Codown, and hopefully one day his computer will work again and we will see his lovely handsome face.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching.
Thanks very much. We're signing off.